So here I am in the hot seat. It was high time it happened, I suppose. Man, finally, my first interview. This is special.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me on here.
Of course. I'm always excited to meet local artists, especially like musicians, because it's Austin. So.
I mean, that's what we're known for, right?
Right, exactly.
It's a crazy city. There's so much diversity, but it's weird. It's not necessarily, I'd say, cliquish, but it seems like a lot of people sometimes they stick to their group of friends. So It's kind of nice to be able to, as an up and coming artist, no one assigns you to a team, so to speak. Like, I have a group of my friends that I call like my music family, because we support the hell out of each other. We try to make each other shows.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to have that openness still, to kind of be able to mingle with everyone and kind of get everyone's side of the story.
Yeah.
It's really kind of a blessing, I really have to say.
Yeah, there's definitely like circles.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as you're with good people, it's not like they're like, why you
Exactly. No, I will say, everyone that, especially this like year and previous year, that I've really started kind of building a relationship with, they've been nothing but supportive. It's I don't know, I guess I can start listing some names, like MC Righteous, obviously, when you met him at the music video. Amazingly talented individual, great producer, engineer, amazing rapper. He kind of, I guess you could say, got the ball rolling for me.
Really?
Like, when I was first kind of recording and writing, I came from, like, I was recording in San Antonio, which is way down there. But I met a lot of great people down there. Not too many artists. A lot of the people I met down there were more artists in the other regard. Like, I met a lot of graffiti artists, and I met a few producers. Shout out J Hustle. That's like my brother from another mother. Like, he's been there since the beginning. He was one of my first engineers. In fact, he's technically the creative director of my label. Like, whenever we need beats or like a video edited, besides obviously going to outside sources like Nahar, because shout out Nahar Media. That is the G right there.
Connected us.
I can't emphasize it enough. If you need a music video, you got money to spend, don't ever second guess it. I'm telling you right now, that dude works magic. Like, his level of professionalism is incredible. I mean, we spent months working out what we were going to do for the music video. I mean, we went as far as like storyboards, which, I mean, you think is a given, but you work with other kind of more low budget, I guess, music video people. They just kind of wing it, they just go to scene, they're like, all right, let's bring some guys and we'll get it all together. And then it's like, that was kind of my impression for most music video people. And then Nahar was like, no, we're going to sit down, we're going to plan this out, we're going to get the equipment we need. We're going to hire some like behind the scenes photographers. I was like, damn, this dude's for real.
Yeah, he's legit.
He's worth every penny. I can't emphasize. I mean, he knows his worth, but he's a good person. He really is.
How many music videos have you done before that one?
I did one beforehand with one of my label mates from Canada. Shout out Diligence. But that was with my J Hustle, my creative director, and we used kind of more of a low budget camera. But I mean, it worked really well for the song, because the song is kind of like a gritty kind of homage to like hip hop and like the Four Pillars, and it worked really well. But I wanted my next video to kind of be not necessarily like a complete budget buster, like you see people with massive stacks of cash and the exotic rental, wearing like fancy clothes, but I wanted something that looked really professionally done. So it just, I don't know, it helped my portfolio. So when people see now I have this, they're like, oh, so this dude actually has he actually cares about his craft. He's willing to invest the money to do it right.
There you go. That's the right attitude to have.
I mean, it's like any artist, like when you're a painter or a drawer, you have to build a portfolio, I'm sure as a photographer, exactly how that goes. The models you work with and the shots, that's kind of what represents us as part of that first impression.
Right.
And with artists like that, I mean, with Nahar like that, it was a blessing, because he kind of worked with me. Like I'm not the most wealthy individual to say the least. So he let me do like installments, and so that was really awesome. Granted, I wouldn't have, embarrassingly enough, I wouldn't have really thought of him if it wasn't for one of the music labels that I've recorded a few times out of, but I'm just always been a big fan of them. College of Hip Hop Knowledge, with Jason, Big Mike, Il Sil, Tall Kyle, Cartoon. I'm probably forgetting a couple of other people. They're a growing label. They're really awesome, but I've kind of gotten to the point now where I can ask Jason about advice, and he's a good person. He really he'll really dish out some pointers for you, especially if you show an interest and genuinely listen. And he recommended Nahar. He was like, look, this dude will work with you, especially if you got a budget, but I highly recommend him for music videos. And I mean, I have to say I was 100% satisfied. So shout out, Jason. Thank you, my man. That was I can't thank you enough for all the advice you've given me.
Aww. And he's on your label too?
No. He has his own label. He's College of Hip Hop Knowledge. My label, Ideal Collective, it's not like your contract music label. It's more like a media movement, really. Like we have a clothing label.
Sweet.
We're building music video, like music editing portfolio, as well as obviously we have like 5 individuals that are all rappers / musicians in it. I mean, it's a growing process. I mean, it's one of those where it takes time. I'd rather really build relationships with people before I really try to bring them into the fold. But my friend Diligence, like I mentioned, he's up in Canada right now. Hopefully, he should be down here this summer for another video and some more performances and an album we're doing. But he actually really kind of put the spurs in my ass to kind of really start. I was already kind of taking it seriously, but he really kind of, I guess, inspired me to push even harder. He was he actually, the whole reason he came down here from Canada was that he was starting to get a reputation as an artist, so he came down here to perform, and he fell in love with Austin. So he ended up moving, living with his folks in San Antonio so he can have opportunities to perform for a while. But then the whole Trump nonsense and visas came around, so he had to go back and get his visa legit so he didn't get deported.
Oh shit.
See, people think it's like, oh man, it's just his kind of like a southern border struggle, but no. Actually, that's part of the reason my pops moved back to England, was that he didn't have his visa right. He's England born and raised in Liverpool.
Wow. Well, now we have something to start with.
That's actually kind of cool, because that's actually where it all really started for me. Because growing up, he was a career musician. That's all he's done his entire life. I mean, he was like hair metal and rock and roll, but he's been a lead guitarist. He almost played actually for Whitesnake at one point, but he had a big falling out with David Coverdale, because two big personalities like that just they don't mix too well. But he kind of showed me the ropes through the mistakes and things that he had to kind of experience in the industry that really kind of taught, because though they're two genres and there's definitely distinct differences, there's also a lot of similarities, like being wary of who you license your music to. Like, he got screwed over by iTunes, funny enough, pretty badly. Like, they lost out on a few $1,000s and ended up making pretty small amounts for an album they did. Trying to think the name of the group. I think it was Warchild was the name of the group. Because rock is one of those things where you'll have like 12 different groups that you're a part of. So it's a whole different dynamic from the solo personality that you see a lot of rap. Like, you don't see a lot of groups. Though, I mean, they're still around. I mean, you have obviously people like the Migos. You have like more locally, like Minds of a Different Kind. Love them. One of my favorite first like hip hop groups. But he would always kind of inspire me in the fact that he never gave up. Like, no matter how frustrating things got at times, he'd be like, well, back to the drawing board, let's get at it. And I can't emphasize, he's a brilliant guitarist. He's one of those people, you could name a song, let him hear it once for the first time, and he'd be able to perfectly play every single note right on point.
Wow.
Like, you could tell, like, that's what he's meant to do. Like, he's a savant in a lot of regards. Like, I believe he was signed to a label as early as 11 years old. back in the like the Beatles boy band era, they were always looking, you know, it's like
Yeah.
K-pop. They were always looking for the young kids that they can kind of mold into
Right.
those symbols of desire. So like he's always just had this experience and this drive to be a musician. So it was very inspiring. I always tell people like music's in my blood, and I mean
Yeah.
it truly is. Like
Really?
I grew up around that. So
Is he still doing music?
oh yeah.
Nice.
He's still getting. In fact, now he's getting paid decently from it, from royalties. Like he makes albums, and then he has a distribution company that he sends it to, and they pitch it to advertisements. That, on all honesty, no one buys CDs anymore. So that's where a lot of the real money comes from, is being able to market it to radios, market it to advertising companies, and that stuff. So I mean, I'm really proud of him, and I mean, he's one of those guys where it's like. He's done a lot of things that made me shake my head. He's taught me a lot of things what not to do by his actions, but he also, as a musician, he taught me a lot of things that you should do. Like, don't make music you're not proud of. No matter how much it seems like easy money, do what feels right.
Yeah.
Because when you come back to it in the end, it's going to be your legacy, and you don't want to look back and be like, I was an idiot, you know?
Yeah.
You want to be able to view it as like, man, this is incredible to see my growth in this epic journey that I've had as a musician, or even just an artist in general, really.
Yeah. Did you guys make music together when you were little?
Not really. I kind of picked up music kind of late. I was really big into soccer when I was younger, to the point where I tried to the point that I tried to I almost played on the Olympic team a couple of times, but there was a lot of politics to it, which ironic because now I went to music that arguably has more politics, but I'm a lot more aware of it. And I didn't really know about it until I got to the point where like I had almost had opportunities. Though I joke with myself now, I kind of kick myself in the butt because Austin's getting like a semi-pro like MLS team, and I was like, man, I could have played on that team.
Oh man.
But you know, everything happens for a reason. You can't keep on looking back and kicking yourself in the butt. You just kind of learn from what you're doing and just keep driven.
Yeah.
But with him playing music, by the time that I really got serious into music, he was kind of already out of the picture. Him and my mom separated when I was about 18. They had their reasons. Like, I understand both sides of the story. But he went back to England because he didn't really have a chance to do any, or he didn't have a chance to pay for his visa. So it was either that or get pulled over or something silly like that and get deported. So it's just easier to just go back on his own accord. But he visits pretty regularly. I know he's kind of going through like a spinal surgery because he's kind of up there. I'm not going to say his age because he's a little sensitive about it. You know, that rock star personality. But he's going through some spinal surgery, or he went through a spinal surgery that he's recovering from now. So he's waiting until he's a little bit more like healthy again before he comes back. But me and him are actually supposed to do an album this year. He's really proud of me. I mean, he doesn't understand rap quite so much because he feels like, especially like sampling and stuff, he feels like we're just cheating. We're using other people's work. And I've tried to explain to him it's much deeper than that. Right. It's like a composer taking tributes of his favorite work and then really turning it into his own and making something out of it. It's much more like a tribute, like a salute really than anything. But you're talking to a man that's literally composed his own instrumentation his whole life, so he's not hearing it. But me and him are supposed to do like a Rage Against the Machine style album this year, cool. Which is going to be very interesting take for me because most of my music's more like soulful and like easygoing. So like I'm gonna have to go back to like my punk rock roots and really get angry again.
Nice. So you'd rap like the Rage Against the Machine style, like kind of screaming. Yeah,
exactly.
Cool.
Much more like politically charged lyrics with obviously some heavy solos from my dad, and then my he's not uncle by blood, but I mean he's literally been there like my whole life. Like he's known me since I was born till now. His drummer Roger Bam Bam Weiss, amazing drummer. I can't emphasize it. Like I've seen a lot of guitarists and I've seen a lot of drummers, but I have yet to see one that can match their caliber. But I mean that goes with 40 plus years of experience, you know, like as much as natural talent will get you places, practice over decades and decades gets you just that much further. So that's going to be interesting. Like I'm looking forward to it. I'm still kind of sitting there pondering like, what am I going to write? trying to get myself in that mentality, because it's hard when I'm working on so many different projects to be able to put myself into that place. But I mean, I'm still gonna seize that opportunity. One, I've always wanted to do work with my dad. It's just, it was hard finding that middle ground. So when he suggested that, I was like, you know what? That actually could work. That could work, because I've tried to have him do like guitar samples for me in the past for like beats and stuff, but then he'll play like these crazy solos. I'm like, Dad, how am I supposed to rap over that? That's not how this works.
Aw, that's cute.
No, I love him to death. Like, and don't get me wrong. It's just it's finding that common ground, because you see there's just such a big generational and genre gap that it was cool to us find some common ground finally.
Yeah. Do you have any siblings who are also into music?
My brother played guitar for a little. I'm one of two. We're a very small family. But my brother was into guitar when he was younger, and then he kind of got more passionate about like gaming and programming. So now he's like a really, really avid gamer. I know. Bless his heart. Like, I love him to death. But sometimes I've always been curious about him, you know, doing something besides video gaming, or maybe doing like streaming or something. But it's just, our family's infamously stubborn. So I mean, it's whatever makes him happy at this point.
Yeah. Well, at least you got your dad.
Exactly.
Share your passion with.
Exactly. And I got plenty of like longtime friends, and you know, my extended family, you know, besides blood, sometimes they're as close as your blood family. That share that passion for music. So I definitely don't feel like I'm all alone in this, you know.
Yep. And so, since we're jumping into music, I should introduce you, because I always forget.
You good?
We have on the show Salus Herb.
Pleasure to meet you guys.
And just a little backstory how we met. This is my first time actually, or no, really hanging out with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because we were when we first met was at the music video, and it was just
the coldest day in Austin.
No kidding. I know Nohar was kind of wanting it to be cloudy, but I was kind of hoping to be a little bit sunnier and warm. I mean, you did a great job of editing it. You couldn't tell, but like it was cold that day.
It was cold.
Like I had a glass of sweet tea that I had that whole time. Like, the ice didn't melt. And we were out there for a good 3-4 hours. Like, it was ridiculous. I was like, damn, this is a cold day.
Right? So I kind of felt bad, because like the circumstances were A, we were working, and B, like it was cold, and we just wanted to get it done and go. Yeah, exactly.
I understand. I figure most people are pretty busy, so I was just happy. Granted, I've already had heard of you beforehand, like I said. Like, I heard of your modeling and your photography, but I hadn't actually met you in person. You know, word of mouth isn't the same as like genuinely meeting the person.
Yeah.
But I mean, that gives us a lot to talk about on this and everything.
Exactly.
go through the whole history book, you know.
Right, and we kind of went through the proper screening, because at least we know the people that we work with.
And you already had kind of an idea of who I was just by the music you heard, or the song you heard, and like how I interacted with everyone. I mean, usually I'm one of those people. I don't put on a mask or a facade even when I perform. What you get is who I am. Like, you hang out with me, that's why I appreciated the company. I don't know. Like, I appreciate entertainers that do that, but I think it's, if you can be entertaining and be yourself, that's like the icing with the cherry on top, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, so Jose, he messaged me, and he was like, hey, what are you doing this day? I have a music video, I need an actor, I need an engagement ring, and like, luckily I knew Sean. He had a ring box and everything.
Shout out to Sean.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out, man. I really appreciate it.
So everything just kind of like fell into place, which was awesome.
It was, yeah, honestly, that was one of the hardest parts we had, because like I had you know, my better half, she has a bunch of rings, but we don't really keep the ring boxes.
You mentioned that.
But so it was just like, that was the one thing I had trouble finding. Like, we got the stereo. I already had a record player. He had the tables and the chairs. I had all the cups, and obviously, again, sweet tea wasn't that hard. That was just a quick trip.
Sweet tea is hard to find in restaurants, though.
Oh no, you think it's hard in Texas? You try to go to like California.
Oh yeah, they're like, what?
What? You want some brisk? I got some sugar to put in your iced tea. Man, every time me and Jay Hustle would go, travel on vacation, he would always, every restaurant without fail, try to order sweet tea. And I swear to you, 100% of the time, that's the response they gave him. And he would act like he just like smelled shit or something. Be like, why'd you do this to me? It's a different place out there, which I mean, there's beauty in it, but then it makes you miss home. It does.
So that leads me to my next question. Where are you from originally?
Austin, Texas, born and raised. Actually.
Really?
I was born in Brackenridge, to be specifically. I lived, funny enough, my family, we've just gradually just kind of creeped further south as time's gone on. Like, we lived in South Austin, like Slaughter, Tanglewood area when I was very young. About the time I started school, we moved to Buda, which is just, south, or just north of Kyle, just south of the Austin city limits. And I spent a good portion of my childhood there till I was like 15, 16, and then we moved to Kyle. And it honestly wasn't too much different. It's just like, it's not as close of a town. Like, it's much more like suburbs separated.
Yeah.
But Buda, man, I have some crazy memories from Buda.
I've never been to Buda before.
It's nice. It's kind of lost that charm that it used to have when I was younger. Like, there wasn't all that fast food area and all that. The HEB was there and the Cabela's was just getting built. But the rest of that wasn't really there, so it was, everyone was kind of really close. You cooked up your own food, you would bring people over and have cookouts. It was very much that small town vibe. Now I feel like we're just, Buda and Kyle are just building up to get swallowed up by Austin.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I
get.
Like. I mean, I suppose it's inevitable. As the city grows, it needs to spread somewhere, so inevitably it's going to spread along the highway.
So, like, you said that you drive around, but, like, do you normally hang out in Austin, though?
When I get the chance, I work a lot, but I don't know, I'm not, like, antisocial, but unless I got a really good reason, I don't usually go, like, you'll never see me in a club, one, because I've been with the same girl for a decade, and half the reason people go to clubs is to try to, pick up a date or something.
Me and my boyfriend, we only go with each other. We've been together for over 5 years, and we only go to the clubs together. and you would think we just picked each other up because we're just like grinding on each other.
Hey, no, that's just love. That's what love's all about. See, I would do that, but my better half, she's like the opposite of me. Like, I'm very social, extrovert. I'm pretty outgoing, which I mean, it really helps with what I do. She, on the other hand, unless she has a good reason to meet you, she doesn't give a damn. She's very content to just hang out at the house with the cats, watch TV, hang out with her couple of friends. And then, I mean, I love her for that. That's just who she is. We're like a balancing act, But, so I've never had too much incentive to go to clubs. I've only gotten her out for a couple of shows because we have a few mutual artists that we really enjoy together. But more or not, she kind of keeps to herself. So, like, I go out and about more in San Antonio, it seems like, than Austin. And that's more because I'll go out with Jay Hustle and we'll, go shoot the shit and see the sights, go say what's up and catch up with our friends out there. If they got something's usually always popping in San Antonio. I really emphasize it's my home away from home. Really? I mean, I played 10 times more shows in San Antonio than I have in Austin. Don't ask me why. Austin, why you not booking me? What'd I do to you?
Which audience do you like better?
That's tough to say. Because San Antonio, it's one of those where I go out there and I get to be me and really kind of introduce myself to people. Because, I mean, I grew up in Austin, so, like, I have my friends out there, but most of the people I see out there, they're seeing me for the first time. Yeah. So it's nice because I meet new artists, I meet new people, and they're like, yo, you're really dope, yada, yada, yada. But, like, Austin, I would like to play more shows in Austin because I have so many, like, especially, like, musical and some musical family out here. It'd be cool to be able to play a show and let them come out and, you know, support and really see me perform.
Right.
Because, like, most of the time, the only time they really ever get to see me is when I do, like, the ciphers for the ATX Flowdown, which is like, it's a live jazz band that will remix people's songs. Like, they'll do, like, 3-4 songs of theirs, and then they'll perform them with them live on stage.
What?
It's fucking,
I've never heard,
it's so awesome.
How often is this?
Whenever they can find a venue. I know they've been kind of slowing down just a little bit because they're working on doing, they're turning into kind of like a TV show. Like, they're on a public access in Austin. I forget the exact location because I haven't been to their new setup. I've been meaning to. I work a lot. You know, you got to pay them bills. But beforehand, especially last year, they played a lot at the Spider House Ballroom before all that shenanigans with Spider House happened. I don't know if you heard about that. Apparently, one of the owners ended up doing some like a sexual assault, basically.
Oh, it's always that.
I know.
What is wrong
I know.
with people?
I don't know why, because he had such a good thing going. So obviously, as soon as that happened, everyone kind of just distanced themselves from that venue. But there was a lot of performances out there. So when they do those performances, they obviously have the sets of people, but in between, after a few sets, they'll have like a cipher, like an intermission, where they'll have like 20-30 minutes where they'll just jam on the band and let people come up and rap over.
That's dope.
Oh, it's so much fun. So I'm a pretty regular at those. Me and my homie King Soul, that's what we're kind of known for now, is always going to those and, you know, showing up and freestyling a bit. Which, I mean, I love because people, you know, get to showcase my skills, but it's not the same as being able to perform one of my rehearsed sets.
Right.
Which is, I love doing. It's, you know, practice. So the way I see it is, like, they've taken this time to ignore me. Well, now I'm getting that much better, so eventually they can't help but book me.
There you go.
I'm keeping a positive outlet.
When was the last one they had?
They had one on during South by at Dozen Street.
Okay. I saw your stories.
Yes.
I was honestly I was so blown away because I didn't know that there was stuff like that.
Oh, it's
here.
I didn't know about it until I was, you know, doing recordings with MC Righteous, and a lot of my music family has got a chance to perform at them. So every time I've gone out and, you know, supported, and then I've seen what it is, I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Why is more people not doing this?
I can feel the energy from your stories.
It's,
like, not to sound super hippie or anything.
No, thank you. No, it's a lot of fun. It really is, and it's just the people they usually book are incredibly talented. So to see, and especially if you already like hear the songs firsthand, like especially with the people I'm close to, I listen to their music pretty regularly. I mean, you gotta support. And so to hear it remixed in such a way that it seems like it's the original song, and they do this over like one day of rehearsal.
Wow,
it's incredible. Like, they're so talented. As far as I know, for the most part, yes. Every once in a while, they'll have, you know, guest musicians come on, but I'm trying to remember all their names. Sloan, who's the kind of the brains of the operation, he's the bassist. Okay, now he does backup singing. Rye is the guitarist, I believe. I'm sorry, Rye, if I don't remember your instrument. I feel bad. Lex is their keyboardist / drummer, and then I forget the name of the drummer, and I feel so bad because they're all just really nice people. Like, they're very, considering the position they're at, they're still very gracious about it, you know. But they always do their best to kind of put on a show and support the local artists. So it's big shout out to ATX Flowdown.
There you go.
Love what you do.
Do they have an Instagram? So
Oh yeah,
follow them?
absolutely.
Okay.
Even the Flowdown has its own Instagram, and I'm pretty sure you can find the links to the rest of them. Lex is the one I've kind of started to get closer to than the rest. Me and him are actually working on an album together where he's doing we're getting beats from one of my favorite beat makers from Canada. His name's Dakobe. He's amazing. Actually, he's the one that did the instrumental for the music video we just.
Cool. Simple Things, right? It's called. Nice.
So, but love that dude. He's such a amazingly talented producer, and he's just so humble and carefree about his music. Like, I've offered to pay him for rights to the beats, and he's just like, no, just use them. I just want them out there.
Aw.
Which, that's unheard of for a producer, especially one of
Yeah.
that caliber.
Yeah.
Because he definitely could easily charge for it. And I mean, I would pay. I'm sure
Right.
there's many other people that would pay. But he just genuinely just wants the music to grow and cultivate more art. So me and...
The best.
Exactly. No, I always love that. It's the same with me in like collaborations. I don't think I'll ever charge anyone to collab with them. I'd rather just have that opportunity to add a perspective and kind of blend styles. But me and Lex are doing a collabo album where we're taking his instrumentals, and then Lex is adding keyboards and other instruments to kind of complement it and really kind of make the beats our own and really blend them. And I've only worked with him a couple of times now, but he is so much fun. He's such an easygoing dude, and he's so talented. You could just play a beat and he'll just start rocking the keyboards, and you're just like, man, you just took that beat to a whole new level, man. Like, that's incredible.
Nice. Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to doing more work and really completing that album with him, because that's one of my big dreams, is to have a regular jazz band to perform with. I just think there's something magical about having a live band just performing it instead of, not to knock a DJ, I love my DJs,
Yeah.
but there's just something magical about that. That's why I always love like the Roots, for example, because it's just incredible the way, because I mean, that to me is like you're getting to the roots.
Yeah.
A lot of times we sample jazz and stuff. To actually have an actual jazz band to be able to create it, it's just like you're taking that to that next level of authenticity. Part of the reason I like People Under the Stairs a lot too is because they I didn't know it till I really started digging, but a lot of their instrumentals, besides obviously the obvious samples, they bring someone in to record live and make those samples. Like they have a celloist, they have a drummer, they have keyboardists, they have guitarists, they have background singers, and it's just, it blew my mind. I'm like, man, that takes a level of talent and networking that's just, you have to admire.
Right. Actually, because John's the one that introduced me to People Under the Stairs.
Oh, that's my favorite group.
Yeah.
Hands down.
He's a musician. I was going to say a magician. No, I'm just kidding.
He works magic.
He's a musician too, so he definitely appreciates that type of craft.
Exactly.
But that leads me to my question. So, like, what your dad was in Iraq, but what
kind of made me into hip hop?
Yeah.
That's a good story actually, because my first 15 years of my life, all I really knew was, rock and roll and its wide varieties. Like my mom listened to more like bluesy rock, like Stevie Ray Vaughan. She actually used to go watch Stevie Ray Vaughan live before he passed away. May he rest in peace. At the Continental Club. My dad was obviously hair metal and like British Invasion, because he literally was a part of that. So
I gotta see a picture of him eventually.
Oh yeah, no, I'll show you after the interview. I'll show you a picture of him. I'll show you one with his hair dyed and how he looks now. Because he had a thing about bleaching his hair. I guess that was the in thing back in the day.
Wow.
But it was actually my brother, funny enough, that introduced me, and it started with like Atmosphere and Pete Rock and CL Smooth. I kind of found A Tribe Called Quest myself, but that was more me and him. I've never really, I mean, obviously you didn't have Spotify and that stuff back then, so you use YouTube or Rhapsody, and no one even knows what Rhapsody is nowadays. You tell a kid that, they're like, do you mean Bohemian Rhapsody? No, I mean Rhapsody. It was a music app before all these other apps were around. But so YouTube, one of the reasons I really like it is that I would be listening to some Pete Rock and CL Smooth, and all of a sudden it would suggest, and it suggested this group called A Tribe Called Quest.
How old were you?
I must have been like 14, 15.
Okay.
And I heard a Warped Tour, and I mean, it just, something about it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And ever since, and so I was like, I'm one of those people, if I hear a song I really like by them, I'm not just content with that one song. I'm like, I have to hear more. So I started digging, and I mean, we spent years digging. And I mean, I found great artists like Gangstar, Nas. Pac and Biggie came more from my friends, and I mean, obviously I really enjoyed them when I was younger too. And then obviously you had your SUC artists like Zero, Trey, Fat Pat, Big Hawk, ABN, Big Mo, Pimp C, UGK. Oh, I love UGK.
Nice.
You got. I mean, you got to rep your roots.
Yeah,
man. Like don't trust a Texan that doesn't like UGK or Zero and Trey. I'm just saying that. I don't trust you. You're probably not really a Texan.
I believe that. Okay, so 14, and when did you put pen to paper, and like what inspired your lyrics?
See, I started out a lot of my early days. I mean, I used to write poetry when I was younger, but I never really thought about it and from like a rapping perspective. I just kind of did it as an outlet. I didn't really think about genuinely like starting to write raps until I was just out of high school. I had a few friends that we used to, smoke and drink and just hang out, and we'd listen to instrumentals and stuff, and they'd start freestyling and be like, come on, join in. And I was always, I don't know, I was really self-conscious when I was younger. Like, I couldn't learn to play a bass that good, so I didn't, and I couldn't sing. I hardly can sing now. So I never really thought of myself as a lyricist in really any regard. But, and I mean, I was pretty terrible at first. I honestly feel like most people that start out freestyling, you have to be bad before you get good. There's very few people that just immediately hit the ground running.
Yeah.
But so it started building up from 18, 19, so I'd say about 20, 21.
Okay. And how old are you now, if you don't mind?
25.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been at it. I've been taking the game seriously for like a few years now, 3, 4. I didn't really start putting pad to paper until I was about in between 20 and 21, and even then, most of the lyrics I wrote were all right. I was still very much unpracticed in my craft. I didn't really know my form. I didn't necessarily try to take flows from the people that I really idolized, but I didn't know what I wanted to write about. I was kind of aimless at the time. So, and that's the one thing that's really big about it to me, is that you need to be able to live life and have a life to be able to write about something, or else it just you might as well just freestyle, because you're just kind of aimlessly wandering.
Right.
And I mean, that's my perspective. I'm not going to knock on someone else's writing style, but that's just how I approached it. So I'd say about 23, I finally started working on my first album, Grassroots. It took about a year and a half, because I was a terrible procrastinator. I'm still kind of am. Like, I could really be more proactive about it. Like, I should be writing just about every day, especially at this point. But I end up putting that crap off for like a week, and then I'm just like, I should really write a song now. And I mean, it has its ups and downs, because I'm not forcing it. I'm letting it come naturally. So like, when I do get that inspiration, it's like I'm catching lightning in a bottle, But it's not the best work habit. It really isn't. But it works for me. Like, I mean, I've been putting out a decent body of work now. Like, I released an album, Two Sides of the Same Coin, which is where Simple Things come from. I released that last August, and then I already released another album, Righteous Salvation, at the beginning of this month. And then
That's fast.
Well, and part of it was my first 2 albums, I tried to do like 10, 11, 12 track albums. I think I ended up with 9 and 10 respectively, because there was like a process where I was like, these songs are alright, but they're not. I don't think they were good enough for the album, so to speak. You got to be able to, not force a track on there. Like, if you don't think it's worthy, you don't really rock with it, then don't put it on the album. Rehash it, set it up for a later tape, get it to its proper form.
Yep.
But when I finally got like Two Sides and Grassroots done, I kind of had an epiphany. I was like, in this day and age, and it was funny because your last guest actually brought it up too, most people don't have the attention span to sit through a 12-track album. Like, in this day and age, in the streaming age, most people want a few songs and then they're on to the next album. So I've been kind of more focusing on doing like EPs, like 6 really, really good really good songs that kind of represent the concept that I'm doing, and letting that speak for itself.
Yeah.
And it's kind of easy for me, because like a lot of songs, I can get what I want out of that song. Like, I'm really good at getting the whole picture and being content with it, whatever I'm really trying to portray in my album. Like, Righteous Salvation was about my struggle coming to find my identity as an artist and finding my place, as well as going through sobriety, dealing with the industry as I'm trying to get my foot in the door, but maintaining my integrity. And the album's actually also a tribute tape to MC Righteous, which is why our names are two of it, because Salus means salvation in Latin. So Righteous, salvation.
I was gonna ask you too.
Yeah, no.
The origin of your name.
Oh,
well, not to like.
Yeah, no, you're good. So Righteous Salvation was kind of a tribute tape to him because he's one of the first producers that I've really, besides like Jay Hustle, but Jay Hustle's one of those people that he's just doing so much. It's hard for me to hold him down for a whole album, and I mean I respect him for that. I have love for him. He's got a family to raise and stuff, so he's got to keep himself busy. But MC Righteous is one of the few people, like, this is all he does. Like, I mean, that's his 9 to 5 is he gets out, he books artists.
I
like,
need to have him on.
He's I highly recommend. You hear that? You hear that, Curtis? You're next on here. I'll put you on the hot spot.
We only hugged like 5 times during the music video.
See, it's a sign. It's a sign. But no, I highly recommend. He's an incredible artist. He's got a lot of experience. Like, he's been doing the music game for a lot longer than me. So it shows in the wisdom. But he was one of the first that really kind of sat down and not just recorded me, but wanted to help me, like wanted to develop me as an artist, really kind of gave me pointers, really worked me through, and kind of developed a chemistry with me, so that to the point now where he's my main place I record.
Nice. You're like the Eminem to Dr. Dre.
Oh man, nah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I get the comparison you're saying, but it's hard. It's hard for me to compare myself to Eminem because he's such a monster, and our styles are so different. He's so angry, and I'm just like, hey, let's just have a good time, guys. Just love life, you know.
That's actually what I noticed that sets you apart too from the music video is you smile a lot.
I have a lot to be thankful for.
Smileless herb.
It's funny too, because you think I smile a lot. My friend, one of my friends there, he goes by Grins. He's part of my label. That's why he has that moniker Grins, is because he just always has a grin on his face. He's just always in a good mood. Awesome, he's such a great energy to have. I've had him on a couple of tracks and features. One on Grassroots, one on Two Sides of the Same Coin. He was on Land of Confusion. Incredible rapper, like amazing freestyler. Like, I remember when I was first freestyling with him, he was so good. It was intimidating. Because, like, how can you freestyle double time? Like, who does that? And I don't know if you know what double time means. That's when they, like, rap really fast. They almost double the pace of the BPM, i.e. double time. Yeah. But he's always been super gracious, almost to the point where he's too humble about it. Like, I'm not saying he needs to be egotistical, but he should be... I feel like if he carried himself with a little bit more pride, I feel like he would get more work done. Like, I think sometimes his doubt plagues him. Because I've heard he has a few songs that he's ready to record, but I'm still waiting on an album. Aww. This is your boss, man. I'm still waiting on that album, dog. Where you at? I'm waiting on that Grins album.
It's usually the best artists, though, that have, like, the most anxiety.
And that's why you have so many people in Hollywood in the music industry that end up, like, committing suicide or just kind of going away into that hermit mode and just escaping the world because there's so much anxiety that people don't understand. Yeah. Which is, I think, it's the beauty of having interviews like this, is because you really get to hear our side of the story, get to understand us a little better.
Yep. That's why I created it.
Shout out to Fatal.
Thank you. So during your writing process, like when you first started, how would you say you've grown? Like tremendously. Yeah, was it like just, I mean, like your cadence, like what were your hiccups just for, like, you know, aspiring rappers out there?
Cadences were definitely something that took me a long time to really get the hang of. Rapping on beat. For a while I was pretty bad about, like, sliding off beat. I almost got good enough at sliding on and off beat that I made it like my own thing. But breath control is a really big one. Like, it took me a while to really get down how to conserve your breaths and emphasizing, like, certain bars. Like the end of a bar, I call it the punch. A lot of times I would use too much breath to over exaggerate it instead of using that extra air to maybe get to the next bar. Even writing organization, I had a lot of help from one of my label mates named Levi Deadman. He went by Savage Johnson before, but now he goes by Levi Deadman. And he actually sat me down one night and just like he was like, let me see, your phone. Let me see how you write. And it was just like this continuous paragraph with no spaces, no gaps. And he's like, I'm going to teach you a couple of things that are going to greatly improve your writing. So he taught me how to just, it seems like obvious common sense, but when you're up and coming, you just, I don't know, you don't think about these things. Right. He'd show me how to break it down, bar by bar, kind of count syllables, match it with the 4-bar count, which is what a bar is. It's that's a bar, So, and it helped me. It really did. It helped me a lot, and you can see the difference from grassroots to two sides of the same coin, and then from two sides of the same coin to my recent album, it was much more developing the craft altogether, like being able to explain a concept in a much more less wordy way, in a much more dynamic way, so to speak. Be able to convey emotions a lot better. It used to be I felt like I only had two emotions, where it was just really carefree and almost lazy, and then like really serious. And now I just feel like I can find that blend of the two, and I have a much more of a spectrum to go on, Yeah. Beat composition was a really good one that I learned, especially from MC Righteous, that helped me. He made every beat on Righteous Salvation, so him and Jay Hustle sitting there doing sample digging and really kind of like figuring out the beats that I should rock on instead of the beats maybe necessarily that I wanted to. It helped a lot more, because once you really start understanding what beats really work for you, it's kind of like reverse. It's like the reverse method. Like you start understanding what beats you should be on and what you should really be doing. And I don't mean to like necessarily say I'm boxing myself in, but it's like self-actuation. Like you finally find yourself, so to speak.
Yeah.
Which it kind of coincides with the meaning of that album, so it's really beautiful.
Nice. What do you find yourself writing about a lot?
A couple of there's like 2 or 3 subject matters that I tend to find myself going back to, even on freestyles. I don't say anti-materialistic, but in our capitalistic society, I find that we tend to idolize money in excess, like when we eat, what we really need.
Yep.
So a lot of times I bring up, especially what Simple Things is about, it's just appreciating what you got, your family, a good meal, the warm sun, the beautiful scenery, love some friends and family, stuff that money can't buy necessarily. Yep. And I find, especially in hip hop, you see a lot of the opposite in that, where people want to, like, you're only worth a shit if you have a mink coat and you drive in a Benz and you have stacks of cash that you're throwing at people. And it's like, I understand that you're trying to show, celebrate success, but you're almost portraying it as an end all be all. Either you're rich as hell or you're just nothing, and I just think that's completely untrue.
Yeah.
So
it's like a flexing culture.
It is. It tremendously is.
It's just image and. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. No, I totally agree. Like image, I don't want to say superficial, but a lot of times it really seems like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely, you'll hear that a lot in my subject matter, because that's one of those things I just want to just drill into people's heads. Right. Like, you don't need money to be happy. Not saying you don't need money at all, because obviously you got to put a roof over your heads. You got to make sure your family's fed. But what you need and what you think you want are two very different things usually. There's very few people that have got that point now where they're like, all right, all I need is to make sure my family's fed. All I need to do is make sure that I can afford to pay for my craft, and I'm happy.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm getting to that point now where I'm content with that, and that's awesome for me. That's what I've been striving for so long.
Yeah, I'm so with you.
Another subject matter I tend to bring up is preservation of soul and identity, because And I mean that kind of coincides with the materialistic, you know, subject matter where a lot of people will almost sell themselves out. I mean, you've heard sell your soul in the industry probably 100 freaking times. And I mean, I've seen it. I've seen people literally just 180 themselves because they think it's gonna bring success, and it's like, are you really being genuine to yourself, or are you just playing into a fad that you think will give you a break? And I think that coincides a lot with sometimes, you know, the depression that comes with success is because people do it to get it rich. And I understand you're trying to make that big break, but if you can't look back at yourself and be like satisfied, really happy with your journey, is it worth it?
Right.
And I don't think it is. Like, you can't put a price on your integrity and your soul as much as people would say that they can.
Yeah.
And then I tend to kind of recollect and give tribute to like the hip hop that raised me, because I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, you can quote Kanye saying that boom bap is dead, though I strongly beg to differ with cats like Kendrick and Cole that are still, you know, holding it down. But I tend to try to give favor and give tribute because a lot of them are the people that inspired me to even pick up the mic in the first place. And as a culture of sampling and giving tribute, the least we can do is continue to bear that torch and give tribute to the people that inspired us.
Right.
Which is why I quote Far Side, People Under the Stairs, Pete Rock, and CL Smooth in a lot of my songs, especially Far Side. It's just, part of it is Far Side's really easy to rhyme with. But like, I can emphasize, I love that group. Like, I just saw Fat Lip during South by at Little Darlings, and oh man, that was a bucket list for me. I got I got a CD cover signed by him, and I got that. I'm gonna put that like in a box, sealed in a frame, put it in my trophy room with my Method Man hat signed and my Thes One hat signed. Oh yeah.
Where'd you meet Method Man?
He had a show here in Austin like 2-3 years ago. It was called the Smoke Out Tour.
I remember.
Be Real Cypress Hill was there, which I love Cypress Hill. I mean, that goes back to my stoner roots, but as well as just they're amazing artists. They're one of them that really kind of coalesce punk rock and hip hop in a beautiful kind of harmony. Burner was there, though ironically, Burner, I don't mind his music, but I'm much more of a fan of what he did for the cannabis industry than him as a musician. Though I salute him for his craft. You know, you made all this money, and now you want to do what kind of speaks to your heart. You know, more power to you. And Mick Jenkins, of all people, which I thought was kind of weird because like Mick Jenkins is a great rapper, but I don't think of him as a stoner rapper. You know, and that was the whole premise of that tour, was the Smoke Out tour. It was a bunch of, but Method Man and Redman were the headliners, and my God, I have to say they still put on one of the best shows. Like, the energy that they bring to the stage, they will make you exhausted because they will make you jump, they'll make you bounce. Like, they don't fuck around, and you feel bad because they're jumping around, moving around, and they're like, come on, if we can do this, you guys better be doing this shit too. But you'll be dripping with sweat. You're like, damn, how do they have this much energy still? I was like, maybe cocaine? I don't know.
They also don't have like a billion people surrounding them.
That's true. They're on the stage. There's probably fans blowing on them. But no, they put on an incredible show. It's definitely still one of my top 5 shows, probably top 3, honestly, that I've ever witnessed. Them and like Slug from Atmosphere. He puts on such an amazing show. Part of it too is they both have very much, I wouldn't say cult followings, but the people that are fans, they're really fans of them, you know? So like, you have the whole crowd singing along songs after. There's an intoxicating effect when you're in that crowd because you feel like you're in with a group of hundreds of people sharing this common interest, and it's beautiful. It's what a concert's really supposed to be.
Right. Man, now I'm hyped for like a show.
Like, I'll let you know when there's always some really good shows. I know College of Hip Hop Knowledge always brings down some really dope artists. They brought Cool Keith for South by. I was so pissed I missed that show. It looked crazy because they did it at Kick Butt Coffee, which is kind of a
off airport, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a smaller venue. They packed 250 people in there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a nice venue though.
Oh, I love it. ATX Rap Scene, they do a beat workshop there. Shout out to Zachary Golden. They always do a beat workshop there, so it's a great place to meet, you know, really dope producers and potentially do work with them. That's actually how I met one of the producers that I'm working with this year, Acclimated Assassins, who amazing producer, very like golden era boom bap, but he's really honed his craft down to like an art form. Really humble guy too. I met him there, and so I got very familiar with that venue. It's one of my favorites in Austin because, I mean, it's a coffee shop that's open late. So you can get yourself a cup of Joe if you're tired and be ready to perform. So, like, I was really impressed to hear that they got like 200 plus people in that venue, because I've seen that venue. I don't think I was trying to imagine fitting 200 people in there, so I was like, man, that must have been packed.
That's even a small parking lot too, if I can recall.
Oh yeah, every time I go there, I always park in the parking lot right next.
Yeah. That's where I park and smoke before show.
I'm just like, shh, they'll never know. Oh man.
So, do you have any shows coming up or no?
I try to frequently play at the Limelight in San Antonio.
Okay.
One of my homies that I've met through one of my mutual acquaintances in San Antonio, Little Elephant. He goes by AMS, but his company is called Little Elephant Productions. He's a graphic designer. He actually designs my clothing line.
Oh, is that the?
Yeah, that's one of my. That's one of
Nice.
my clothing line.
Nice.
But he introduced me to Spy, and Spy is Spy MC is his full name, but he's an amazingly talented rapper who also works promotion out there, and he put me on to How We Do at Limelight, which is the first and third Wednesday of every month.
Oh.
And it's like an open mic like set out there, and it's a lot of fun. It's like I've played probably a dozen shows there now.
Oh wow.
But
What part of San Antonio?
St. Mary's. It's
like downtown area?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Really, really nice chill area. It's not on the east side where it's kind of rougher. You know, San Antonio gets a little bit realer than Austin. I have to say.
I've only been on the Riverwalk.
The Riverwalk's nice. He actually, I got to play a show on Ventura, if you know where that is. It's right along the Riverwalk.
Oh, okay.
It's a kind of a smaller club, but it's great vibe. Really intimate.
See, I didn't know that they actually had live shows. I mean, it's so touristy to me, so I didn't think that they had.
They have a little bit of blend of everything.
Yeah.
Like San Antonio reminds me a lot of like a smaller LA in that regard.
Really?
Like it's spread out, but there's just a little bit of everything
Like
everywhere.
pockets.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's what I don't like about San Antonio is you have to really drive a distance, whereas Austin, it's like you got the east side, you got the south side. I mean, north side's really the only part that you really.
But that's all hoity-toity land. You're not worried about that. The only thing they got is the Burnett Strip. I haven't been on it, but I've heard there's some amazing food there.
Yeah, Burnett has some pretty good stuff. Yeah, I don't really hang out in the Domain or anything.
No,
like that.
I mean I do inventory, so sometimes I have to go like work in Domain and work at oh goodness, what's the name of the other malls?
There's Barton Creek.
Well, Barton Creek is just a gimme. I used to go there as a kid.
Oh yeah.
You know, go shopping and stuff and hang out in high school, get food, and just kind of mope around as high schoolers do. I never understood why. We were broke as hell. We weren't ever buying anything, but we thought we were cool.
Have you ever heard of the Buckle game? Okay, do you know the store The Buckle?
No.
Not to like derail.
No, I'm curious. You got me curious now.
So when I lived in Milwaukee, I worked at The Buckle, and it's a shitty job because it's like a waitress job. It's a clothing store. They sell like Doc Martens and way overpriced stuff.
As most malls do.
Yeah. But it's commission, so they pay you $4.
And that's criminal.
I know.
That's brutal.
I know. And then if you don't make minimum wage, you make.
They'll round you up to minimum wage,
exactly.
but still, that's brutal.
So I was like 18 or 19, and I was doing school, but I was working a lot. So I would work during weekdays, and there'd be high school kids that would play the Buckle game. That basically the objective is to make it to the back wall and touch it, and go all the way back out without talking to one of the sales associates. Because we work on commission, like, we're on your ass, like, hey, do you want some jeans? Or, hey, do we got a sale going?
Wow. That's kind of fucked up.
I know.
Why? Let's just stab at people's like self-confidence while we're at it, you know? Like, what? Man, that would fuck with me.
But I had fun with it.
Oh, yeah, no, but I would be like, what'd I do wrong? Why are you doing this to me?
So it's usually like scene store emo kids, like Hot Topic kids that would try to do it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I hung out with a lot of that group, so that sounds exactly like something we would do.
But I was kind of young, so I would play along, and like I would hide behind a rack, like they would almost make it out.
I'd
the
be like,
door.
"Hey, what are you doing?" That's amazing.
And they're like, fuck.
See, that's amazing. That would crack me the hell up. I'm sure you got some people to jump from that.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if that was like a widely known game or.
I can't say we did anything like that. I had a couple of klepto friends that would try to play the steal stuff for free and not get caught game, but that's a very different
life.
and dumber. Shoot, I kept it at the gas stations and like HEBs or like Walmart, because Walmart never gave a shit.
Yeah.
I actually found out later why Walmart doesn't really care how much you steal.
Because they have money.
Well,
Who
no,
cares?
apparently because of how cheap they get everything, they can literally have half the store burned down and still make a profit.
Oh man.
Like,
that's insane.
that is insane.
That is so bad. Now I gotta steal from them.
Hear that, kid?
I'm just kidding.
Walmart can lose a little bit. If you're broke and you need some food, Walmart can take the loss.
I should just work their loss prevention.
Oh man, the loss prevention people do not mess around there.
Oh yeah, I've seen secret shoppers like linger, but I've never seen them actually.
See, when I do inventory, obviously we have to deal with them. The worst, I'm trying to think who would be my worst experience-wise, job-wise, dealing with loss prevention. That's tough, because overall manager-wise, I'd say 7-Elevens, because they're just, they're insane. I'm so happy I don't ever have to do inventories for them anymore, because they're crazy. Like, the owners that own 7-Elevens are crazy. Like, I'm not even talking about, like, the corporate ones, because they're kind of lax. They don't really care as much. But, like, the franchisees that actually own the 7-Elevens, holy crap.
Are they just super tedious?
Super tedious, super anal. If anything goes wrong, even if we count everything right, they'll still try to blame us because they will not accept that they're fallible.
Oh.
And I'm just like, look, dude, I'm not going to sit here and count your thing for the, like, second, third, or fourth time. We did our job. We're leaving. Here's the paperwork. You deal with it. It's just like that.
Yeah.
We're leaving it at that. I'm walking out. Call my manager. I don't even care. He's just gonna laugh at you. I already know.
Wait, so you're the guy with the group that comes in with the gun?
Yeah, with the maroon shirts.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Every time people ask me that, they always give me such contempt. I'm just like, damn. Or is our reputation really that bad?
No, it's not that. It's because I worked retail for a good chunk of my early adulthood, and I just remember like being up until like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Even with, dude, why do I have to stay? These inventory people are here, but
because they have to check us because they don't trust us. Even
But
though you hired us to do the job in the first place, they still don't trust us. Which I understand because some of the people at our job just really don't give a damn.
Oh, yeah.
It happens at every job, especially one that has a really high turnover rate.
Mm.
But, like, I've worked there for 6 years. I have pride in my job. I like going into a store and having a good reputation. So, like, when people try to tell me I don't give a shit or I'm doing a bad job, I'm like, show me.
Yeah.
Show me. Prove it to me. Because I know how to do this. I've been doing it forever now.
Nice.
So, I don't know. It's kind of a, and I mean, it depends on the store. It just depends on the district. Like, I'm sure I've heard stories that some of the other districts, not that good. Like, they just generally don't care. They just wing it.
Yeah.
And I can understand that builds a pretty bad reputation. But, like, the people I work with, they're for the most part, they're really good people. They try to do a good job. They try to do it in a timely manner, and they're trying to get home.
I would rather do that than retail. Shit.
That's why I do it. I've been offered a job, but it's like, I tell them, like, look, I get paid $16 an hour, so...
Nice, and all you go, boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, are you going to pay me better? No? Because, like, that's more usually than most of the managers make at those retails.
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually.
So I'm just like, you're not really winning this argument. Because, like, I have control of my hours, which is big for me as an artist. Like, I can tell them, like, hey, I don't want to work Saturdays. Hey, I can't work Thursday, Wednesday mornings. I need this day off because I have a show. And as long as I give them like a week or two heads up, they'll totally let me do it. And
That's
it's like,
dope.
as far as I'm concerned, that's huge. As an
Yeah.
artist, like being
Yeah.
able to show opportunity, to be able to tell them like, look, I can't work this day.
Mhm.
I got a show. Because most places would be like, hell no.
Mhm.
You're coming to work or you're fired.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's devastating because it's like you'll miss a lot of opportunities like that.
Right. Isn't it crazy how, like, as an artist, your art comes first and then, like, your job. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I like my 9-to-5 corporate job, but it honestly just funds my real passion.
Exactly. That's what I tell them. I'm like, this job is simply a means to an
Yeah.
end to me.
Yeah.
I mean, because I gotta pay my producers. I gotta pay for the beats, you know, and I gotta pay for studio time. So it's what I need to do. But I mean, it's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like the music is my
Right.
passion.
Yeah. Life's too short to just be someone's puppet, you know?
Exactly.
You
And
know?
that goes back to that whole materialistic thing.
Yep.
You know, you gotta know what you need and how much you
Mhm.
need, and not
Right.
work yourself to death doing something that's just
Yep.
you're gonna live to regret later on.
Yep.
Not saying quit your job.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. Just want to strongly emphasize that. But it's a balance. It's a
Yeah.
balance between the two.
Right.
And I mean, sometimes it's harder. Like I know people that like they work all day and then they work all night on their music and they barely sleep. But
Yeah.
it's what they want to do. And I mean, I salute you. Like,
Right.
seriously, I salute you if you
Yeah.
can do that, because that's tough. Like
Mhm.
I need at least 4 or 5 hours of sleep, or else I feel brain dead.
Least? Shit, I need 8.
That's like my girl. She'll sleep at 9 o'clock, and I'll wake her up at 4 getting home from work, and she's like, now I'm gonna be tired all day. I hate you. I'm like, you slept for 7 hours. She's like, I need more. But I love her. She needs that beauty sleep. You know, that's how she's so beautiful.
Aw. Well, we should probably close out because, man, time flies.
Holy crap! Is it?
Right?
Holy
An
crap!
hour and 7 minutes already.
Yo, no, you're
Yeah.
good. You're good.
But this is great.
I suppose I should, before we close out, I should give a heads up about upcoming releases
Yes,
and that whatnot.
plug whatever you gotta do.
Okay.
Or whatever.
Well, I got an album dropping. Well, I'll call it a EP, but it's called Sampler Platter, and it's literally a preview of future albums to come out this year from all the producers that I'm doing, because I'm doing a producer salute showcase this year. Like each EP is going to be certain producers that I really respect, and pretty much all their beats, like how the MC Righteous tape was. So I have one with Ruler Y, one with Flobama, one with Acclimate.
I like that.
Oh,
Okay.
he's an amazing producer. If you haven't heard of him, I highly recommend checking him out. He
Okay.
is literally the wizard of synths.
Nice.
Acclimated Assassins. There's a really awesome producer I met from San Antonio named Kaiser Soza. And then the Dakobe tape that I'm doing with Lex.
Okay.
And then I guess last but not least, shout out to everyone that supported me so far on this long journey. Every time you take the time even to listen to my music or message me like, hey, that was really dope, we should do some work, it means a lot to me, because I mean I'm still finding my way, so any support I can get is just going to build a more solid foundation.
Yep.
Shout out to people that have given me the opportunity to get a chance to perform, specifically like Spy MC. Like I know he's not trying to be a producer or a promoter for too much longer because he wants to focus on his craft, and I totally get you, man. You're such a good artist. You should absolutely do that. But I can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity for all the shows that you have given me. Shout out to Lunar Levi, who's given me opportunities for showcases and just been a all around just great guy when I'm around him. Shout out to the Flow Down Band for even just letting me come out and do ciphers with you guys, and just know that style of music, that act, that entertainment is still around. It really warmed my heart. And then shout out to the music family that have built me into this artist. MC Righteous, Ty C, Hinton Covington, Kira Nova, Live Free, Espo, Benji, Mikey Rose. There's a lot of them.
No, go for
There's
it.
a lot of them. Testimony, Jazz Rap, Ayuma, let's see, Zeguru, and then you got my ideal family, which is J Hustle. Me and you have been brothers to the very end. Grins and Bear, who have literally been there since I was freestyling and acting a fool. Like they literally helped me to even become a rapper in the first place. To Levi Deadman, who helped me so much, as I said before, and then Diligence as well. Like, Ideal Family, man, we're coming for them, man. This year's gonna be big for us. I already know it.
Nice.
I feel it.
I feel it too. Totally.
And then thank you.
Yeah,
finally, thank you for having me on. It was a
absolutely.
pleasure to kind of just show people who I am. You know, give them an idea of what's going on in this crazy head. You know.
No worries. Like I said, I really wanted to get to talk to you since, you know, I was in your music video, and
it felt like it was only necessary,
yeah,
right?
and I felt like I remember jumping around and moving around, and I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy.
No.
I'm just trying to stay warm.
No, I completely understood, because I'm a warm weather guy myself. Like, I will pick 90-degree weather all day over snow. Like, I've been tempted to move to like Colorado and stuff, because I just not worrying about any legal trouble and being able to smoke freely. But then I think driving on ice, snow all the time, I'm just like, no.
I'm from up north. We don't.
No. Yeah, no, my homie's from Canada, and every time he's just like, man, I wish I was back in Texas. So it just tells you a lot. Even my dad, who lives in England, is like, I can't wait to get back to freaking Texas. This weather sucks so bad. I'm just like, I know, Dad, 75. Oh, it's so great.
I know, right? In my stories, my friends up north, like, sorry, I don't mean to be mean-spirited, but I always put, like, the temperature. Like,
you got to.
It's 75, bitch.
The only place that's better than us is California, and I hate it for it because they're so smug about it. But every time I go out there, it is literally like someone set an atmospheric thermostat. They got 60s in the morning, 85 and 90 during the day. I'm just like, I hate you. You people don't deserve this weather, because they're just so smug out there. Like, there's some nice people out there, but most of the people, it's like Russia or something. They won't even look you in the eye. Like, I don't expect a hi. Like, I don't expect it like Austin, where you can say hi to people and chat it up. But they don't even look at you. Like, they don't even acknowledge you. And there's just something that irks me about that. Because it's like, you're not better than me. You're just different. Like, get off your fucking high horse. You're tripping. But it's Cali for you. Like, I've had people tell me.
Well, let me wrap up. And this is my tradition. I gotta clean.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure.
I don't really have big goals for this podcast, but one thing that I really want to accomplish is like an anniversary party with like my my FOD fam.
Let me know.
Yeah, I'm like, dude,
I'll
wouldn't
be
it
happy.
be dope? Like if all my artists.
Oh, that would be so cool. Have Nahara here, Giovanni. Just let me know. I'm always down to perform anywhere. Like, I'll do house parties, bar mitzvahs. I don't care. I can't rap in Hebrew, but I'll put on a show. I promise.
I believe it. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Sure we'll work together sometime.
Let me know. I'm always down to do another interview. I can talk and bullshit for hours, if you could already tell. So
I appreciate that, because I'm not much of a talker. So.
And that's the beauty. You bring the interviewee on. You just kind of set them on their way.
Yep.
And then it's just like that.
I know, right? It's the perfect setup. Oh yeah, and then our photo shoot eventually.
Yes. Oh yes, absolutely. Just let me know. I'm gonna take care of this album cover with my friend. I've already got it kind of set up. It was kind of last minute, but I have, like I said, a bunch of albums coming out this year, so we will absolutely have some kind of opportunity to do a photo shoot, and you'll definitely be one of the first people I think of. No, I really like your work. Like, I always check it out on IG, and I'm just like, man, she is really good.
Aw, thanks.
Granted, you also have some. I like it. I like it when people can be unique and be themselves. There's just something appealing about it, and it's very much, it represents Austin. We're the weird city.
Yeah.
Even though some people would beg to differ. Fuck off, Oregon. We're the weird city. That's art. That's ours. We rock the tie-dye. Says keep Austin weird. I don't want to see keep Portland weird. Shit makes me sick. Get your own gig. Get your own gimmick, damn it.
That's funny.
You can reach us at fatalpodcastatx@gmail.com or Instagram @fatalappeal.